All right, what is the value of the cubed root of negative 27 to the fourth power? All right, well, we need to follow PEMDAS when we have this, and good old PEMDAS tells us that we do our parentheses first, and then we take care of our exponents. So in parentheses, I'm going to do this first, and then I'm going to worry about the exponents later. All right, so what does this 3 mean? Well, that's called a cubed root. And a cubed root, I'll just go over this briefly. Cubed root is if you work backwards. So if you cube 1, it means 1 to the third power. So 1 to the third power means 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. If we did 2 to the third power, so if we were doing 2 cubed, it would mean 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So to work backwards, we would say the cubed root of 1 equals 1. The cubed root of 8 equals 2. In other words, this is asking, what number can I multiply by itself 3 times to get this number? So 2 times 2 times 2 gives me 8. Let's try one more. What if I had the cubed root of 125? And this time I'll make it a negative 125. Cubed root of negative 125 would be, what number can I multiply by 3 times to get negative 125? Well, 5 times 5 is 25, and if you have 5 quarters, that's $1.25. So that answer would be negative 5. Well, now let's talk about our negative 27. And always start with small numbers. They're not going to give you questions that are crazy. So small numbers, so I'm going to try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's normally not going to be any bigger than that. And 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So the cubed root of negative 27 is negative 3. Because if I do negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, that would be 9. 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. Now I do the fourth power. So now that I have the fourth power, now I'm just doing negative 3 times negative 3, and I'm going to do it 4 times. Now the trick with this is, you know it's going to be positive because you have an even number of negatives. Even number of negatives. If we had an odd number of negatives, it would be a negative answer. And here's just a quick explanation of that. Negative 3 times negative 3, that's an even number of negatives. I have 2 negatives, and that's a positive answer. Negative 3 times positive 3, that's an odd number of negatives, so that's a negative answer. So that's just a shortcut if you're multiplying a bunch of integers together. All right, well, all I need to do is, I've already done negative 3 times negative 3 3 times, and I got negative 27. So I just need to do it times negative 3 again, and that would give me a positive 81. So this answer is positive 81. All right, I'm going to give you one to try on your own. All right, go ahead and pause the video and give this one a shot. What's the value of cubed root of negative 8 to the 5th power? And now for your solution. All right, what number can we multiply by itself 3 times to get negative 8? The answer is negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 gives us positive 4, times negative 2 again gives us negative 8. And that's where that came from. So now I have negative 2 to the 5th power. And I've already multiplied it 3 times and got negative 8, so I just need to do negative 8 times negative 2 again times negative 2 again. So negative 8 times negative 2 gives me 16, and then 16 times negative 2 gives me negative 32. So my final answer is negative 32. And how did I know that that was going to be a negative answer? I could have just thought of it as 2 to the 5th power, which would be 32, and then I have an odd number of negatives, so then I know my answer is negative. So you can just ignore the sign and just look at the exponent. If it's an odd number, you know your answer is negative. If it's an even number, your answer is going to be positive. And that's when we're multiplying using a negative number. All right, so negative 32 is our answer. Hope you got that.